What's up? What's up? What's up? Of course, it's me, your boy Richie Rich at Consumer Appliance Report. Shoot another awesome video, man. So now we're gonna focus on the GE dryer. All right. So we're gonna talk about the functions and the features that comes with purchasing this appliance that we have here. All right. So of course, before we begin, you always know what time it is, man. Make sure you listen to our intro. Cool. Always thank you guys for watching the videos, liking the videos, sharing the videos. Don't forget the subscription. You see that at the bottom of this video. Hit those notifications and those bells and those buttons, man. That helps us to so people can see the video and you can share the videos, and we appreciate your participation. And of course, if you have any appliances that you want us to review or look at, always email us and we'll do that for you. Alright, so let's focus on the control panel. So the control panel is what you actually interact with to turn your appliance on, pause, stop, select your different cycles and the features that you have here. So you have your power button, which is at top, you have your start button of course, then you have your different cycles and your different features that you can actually select. Alright, so the power button, according to this, it says press to wake up the display. So when you turn it on, noise to let you know that like it comes on. Of course, it activates your appliance. It does not mean that when you press to put the dryer, it's in idle mode, so nothing really happens. It just sits there and it just lights up. Pressing the button does not disconnect the appliance from the power supply. Alright, so even though you press it off, it's still on as long as it's still plugged in. So you just want to keep that in mind as well. Alright, start and pause. So of course, once you hit the power button, you have the option to choose different cycles. When you choose those different cycles, of course you'll start and the dryer will start up. You can always pause in the middle of the cycle instead of hitting the power button. Of course, if you hit the power button, it's going to reset everything and you're going to have to start from scratch. So you always want to make sure you hit the pause button. Alright, so you have the display and status light. So that's on the right side, where you can see the digital display, you see the numbers, you can actually also see the sensing, you can also see the drying, you can see damp, and you can see cool. Alright, so that's what the display status lights indicates to let you know what is going on there. Also on this dryer you have Wi-Fi. Alright, so we're going to talk about the Wi-Fi functions as well. You have a control lock function that you do have. You also have a check filters light. You also have a check vent light. So we can actually go into those two because normally that's where a lot of the issues come from when I go out to customers' homes just to evaluate their appliances, evaluate their dryer. There's always lint clogged inside the filter that needs to be cleaned every time that you use the dryer, or in the exhaust vent in the back. Alright, so according to this, it says the check filter light will stay on for 15 seconds after the cycle stops. Alright, so that's like a reminder to let you know that, hey, check the filter, clean the filter, so that by the time you try to use it again, it's already been cleaned, or just a reminder for you to clean it, because it's important. You got to make sure that the dryer is able to breathe. Alright, proper air circulation, allow the dryer to heat up properly. You also have a check vent. So this is in addition to, right? So this is good. On your traditional or your older dryers, you do not have this function. So on these new models, they're adding this function because what happens over time, it builds up. If there's a restriction, it causes your dryer to overheat, because now you got to use it 3, 4, 5 times just to get one load of clothes dry. And when you have to do that, it's allowing your dryer to overheat. And when it overheats, it's going to catch on fire and burn your house down. That's what normally happens. So you want to be careful with that. But on here it says check vent light indicates an issue has been found due to reduced airflow from a possible blocked or restricted vent. Checking and or cleaning the vent system is recommended. We recommend that you do that once a year. Alright? It says see the check vent light is on in the troubleshooting tip section. All right, so that's cool there. All right, so let's get started, getting started. So you have drying cycles. So you have two options depending on what you want to select. You have your sensor cycles and you have your time cycles. Your sensor cycles automatically determine your fabric dryness. All right, so that's one thing that you want to think about depending on if you're going to use a manual cycle or the time cycle. Your time cycles run for the selected time. So you're going to use automatic for sensing or you're going to use manual for time. So it's all up to you depending on what it is that you want to do. You have mixed loads. It says for loads consisting of cotton and poly blends. So you want to be careful when you're actually loading your dryer up or even washing your clothes. The great thing about the technology and the enhancements of a lot of these appliances, especially this dryer that we're focusing on, it hits the target. It's like hitting the target with a bullseye. So there's different cycles and different settings that you can use. Like you have cottons and you have towels. And my suggestion, or my recommendation, if it says towels, put towels in there, right? Because that's what's recommended by the manufacturer that you should do. So according to this, let's go down to a couple of them where it says cottons. It says for cottons and most linens, most ENERGY*STAR models are tested on cotton cycles with default setting, temperature setting on low, level setting on dry, and eco default on. It says for towels, for most towels and linens, bulky for large coats, bedspreads, mattress covers, sleeping bags, and similar large bulky items. So these appliances are really smart. They're tailoring the cycle settings with the texture of your clothes. Like we stated before, you have towels. You also have bulky. You have sanitize. You have active wear, like when you wear it to the gym. So those type of materials are different from any other cottons. They're different because they're made from different materials. So if you're active at the gym all the time, the active setting wear, that's active wear, is the best option to use to wash those type of materials and to wash those type of clothes because of what happened. Wash those type of materials. To dry those particular clothes, because remember, you don't want to dry your clothes out too much, and if you dry them out too much, it's going to damage your dryer. All right, it'll damage your clothes. So you want to keep that in mind. The sanitize, of course, was taking place in the dry cycle is extremely important, especially to get rid of bacteria. On here, it has reduced bacteria from different types. So you have there's different bacteria that's listed, so you can look at that inside the owner's manual as well. It also says the antibacterial process occurs when high heat is used during a portion of the drying cycle. Cool down also will be no longer. It says cool down also will be longer to protect you from a hot garment. Do not use this cycle on delicate fabrics. So you just want to be careful. The sanitize setting, depending on if you got delicate clothes, I wouldn't use it for that because it's going to damage it. Alright, so you got quick dry that you can use. Of course, we just talked about delicates for delicate items, for special care fabrics and nicks. So you can do that. You have your permanent press, right, for wrinkle-free permanent press and special sports items that need extra care. Alright, so that's what I'm saying. If you have special items that need special care, use your permanent press. Use these different cycles. Prolong the life of your clothes so they can last you a lot longer. Allow the dryer to be used in a way that it's supposed to be used so that you can maximize the performance of the dryer. Alright, so you also have de-wrinkle. Alright, let's focus on a little bit on the de-wrinkle cycle. For removing wrinkles from items that are dry or slightly damp. This cycle is not recommended for delicate fabrics. So when you read these different issues and recommendations by the manufacturer, how to use it and stuff like that, that's going to help you tremendously, right? It's going to help you tremendously because now you understand how the appliance works because they're so different now, right? So you want to use them according to what is recommended by the manufacturer on how to use them. All right, so let's go to the steam de-wrinkle. For use with larger loads than steam with fresh. Idle for loads left in dryer for extended time. Steam de-wrinkle is recommended for large loads, 9 to 13 garments. All right, so keep that in mind when you're doing the steam de-wrinkle. And this is not on every model either, right? So on some models you have the steam de-wrinkle and some of them you do not. Alright, it says the steam cycles are not intended for use with towels. So don't put towels in here. Alright, so that's not what that is for. Important, the temperature setting must be set to high and water must be turned on before running the steam de-wrinkle cycle. Alright, so again, of course, you're going to connect your steam cycle to your water line. So normally you go from your water line to your wash machine to one side of the dryer. So the dryer and the wash machine share the cold water side of the machine. So you just want to keep that in mind. But when you install it, you'll be able to see and you'll be able to purchase the actual the proper equipment so that you can connect it properly. Or if you don't want to use it, you just not connect the water line to it as well. Alright, so just keep that in mind. Alright, so we got the steam refresh. Alright, so the steam refresh and the steam de-wrinkle is totally two different cycles. Alright, so let's focus on the steam refresh. And again, this is on some models, not all models. So it says for slightly wrinkled dry garments, significantly reduced wrinkles after the steam fresh cycle, the unit will beep if sound is selected and display 00. Now look at this. It says the steam refresh is recommended for small loads, 3 to 5 garments. That's it. Okay, so if you use more than that and you're having issues with it, again, that's not the appliance, it's the way that you're actually using it. And that's why we refer you back to the owner's manual so that you understand how to use the appliance. Steam cycles are not intended for use with towels. We already said that on the steam de-wrinkle. Is the same thing on the steam refresh. Alright, note, a single extremely light fabric item may need to have an additional item included in the steam fresh cycle to achieve optimum results. Okay. Alright, and then important, the temperature must be set to high and water must be turned on before running the steam cycle. Of course, because you need water. Alright, and then we have the infamous time dry, or you can say the manual setting. Alright, it says use to set your own dry time to use. That's it. So if you want to set it to 60 minutes, if you want to select the temperature on high, because that's normally what you will put it on. If you do it manually, you can set that if you want, close the door and then get started. Alright, so that's extremely important. Alright, so other features and functions that you have is the dryness level. Alright, so you want to be able to understand how these different levels work and what's best to use them for so that you can optimize the functions and the features of this dryer. This is extremely important. Alright, it says individual settings for cycle minus time, dryness level, and temperature can be set from the minimum lowest in column to maximum highest in column in general. The higher up the column, the more energy will be used. Think about that. Note, the selected cycle set time can be further adjusted in 1 minute increments by pressing the more plus and less pads. So some of us are used to using this. I've seen it before in the older dryer that my aunt and uncle had, that you just turn the timer to that particular setting for more or less, depending on what it is that you want. So let's see what it says. The dryness level section only used for sensor cycles. Time cycles run for the selected time. So just think about that. That's another keynote there. Extra dry used for heavy duty fabrics or items that should be very dry, such as towels. That's what the extra dry is for. More dry used for heavy duty or mixed type fabrics. Dry is just used for normal dryness. Level suitable for most loads. Alright, it says this is preferred cycle for energy savings. Less dry used for lighter fabrics. Damp for leaving items partially damped. Alright, so like I said, they are knocking all these functions and features out. Pinpointing, making sure you got the right fabrics, make sure you got the right dryness, so that you'll be able to have your clothes last a lot longer, right? Because you know when you wash them and put them in the dryer, they can sometimes shrink or the color fades. You know what I mean? So you want to make sure that you use it according to the fabric that you have. All right, and then we got temperature. Of course, the highest is high, from regular to heavy cottons. All right. It says no. Steam de-wrinkle and steam refresh require the high temperature setting. So we already talked about that previously when we talked about those two settings that you can have. Of course, you have medium, low, extra low, and no heat. Alright, so for synthetics, blends, delicates, and items labeled permanent press, medium. For delicate, synthetics, and items labeled tumble dry low. Alright, so you got low, you got extra low for lingerie. Ooh, my. And special care fabrics. And then you have no heat for fluffing items without heat, for use only with the airflow cycle. Alright, so that's good there. So let's go into some other functions and features we might have on this particular dryer. So again, there's a lot going on. So that's why I said it's best for you to, once you purchase a new appliance, get into the owner's manual. Just take a little bit of time that you have just to go over the function, go over the features and read it so that you'll be able to understand how to properly use it. So now it says reduce static on some models. Man, you know how it is with static, man. If your clothes ain't dry properly, man, it can be a pain when you go touch a light and you get zapped. I'm going through that issue because I definitely don't have this dryer, but I have a regular standard dryer, so it can create some static, man. So it says when selected, the dryer will spray a mist of water onto the load at the end of the drying cycle. Says to reduce static, the option is not available with bulky, sanitized, or steam cycles. Alright, so this helps reduce static, which is good. The damp alert. It says damp alert and Wi-Fi pad. It says the option causes the dryer to beep when clothes have dried to a damp level. Remove items that you wish to hang dry. The damp alert will only beep when this option is selected, so you gotta select it. It says, but the dry cycle will keep running. Alright, so the dry cycle is going to keep running. You just got to make sure that you listen for that beep. Alright, and you set that. It says, removing clothes and hanging them when they are damp can reduce the need to iron some items. Nothing like not being able to iron a shirt. You know, you just hang it up if you got the space. Bam, you put it on later, you can get to go. That's time. You know what I mean? Then you got the delayed dry. The delayed dry, of course, you can just set your dryer to come on, depending on if you want to come on an hour from now, 2 hours from now, 10 hours from now, up to 24 hours from now. So it's all up to you. But that's all the delayed dryers you're allowed to start, delay start for the dryer to come on. Alright, so you can also do that remotely if you would like. So let's go into that a little bit. So this is the Wi-Fi part of it. It says you have two options to set delay dry using your smartphone. So you can use your smartphone to delay start your dryer. Man, let's get it. It says follow delay dry instructions. So you can use the GE Appliance laundry app. So of course you got an app that you can download that you can connect and sync directly with your dryer. It says to adjust the amount of time via your smartphone. Option 2, remote start. It says set your dryer to AP using the delay dry pad. This allows you to use the GE Appliance laundry app via smartphone to start your dryer remotely at the time of your choosing. If the dryer is set to AP with no activity, it will start the dryer 24 hours later. Alright, so you can do that remotely from your smartphone. Man. Alright, so that's another functional feature that you can use. I'm sure you could probably go into the app and see what other functional features you can use as well. See what else you can do from the app. Of course, you got the air fluff. That means that it provides 10 minutes of tumbling time with no heat. Alright, that's if you have it on your dryer. Not every model has it. And it says on models without the air fluff cycle, select time dry and set temperature to no heat. Same exact thing. Alright, then you can use the sound pad to change the volume, of course. If you want the buttons to sound when you press it, or the end of cycle to make noise and let you know the cycle is finished, you can do that as well. Alright, so let's get into a couple of these dryers. We also have the wrinkle care. Use this option to minimize the wrinkles in clothes. Alright, so you can look at that, pause the video as well. We're going to show you and download this owner's manual in the description so you'll be able to look at it. So when you need to get some information off of there, that will definitely help you. Alright, of course we talk about the more plus, less, and then you have less time, more time and less time. Okay, so the selected cycle set time can be further adjusted in 1 minute increments by pressing the more time and or less time pads. Alright, so you can change that if you would like, add a little bit more or add a little bit less of the time for the clothes to dry, is up to you. Alright, so one of the things I wanted to focus on this, of course, just to go over these two, you have the light, you can turn the drum on, which is great. You have the light button that you can press. And it says the drum light will turn on if the light pad is pressed or the door is open. It will turn off when the door is shut. The light pad is pressed again or after 5 minutes if the door is left open. Alright, so it'll shut off. So you just gotta give it time to shut off. You have the small load. On some models, select to use for a small load with a sensor cycle except Sanitize. So let's go into this eco-dryer. This is one of the issues that you got to get familiar with. What is it that you want when you're dealing with the eco-dryer? It says available for only a few cycles. Bulky, towels, cottons, mixed loads, active wear, and delicates. When the eco-dry pad is pressed, alright? It says select setting change to reduce the total energy consumption of the selected sensor cycle. Note, cycle times will change when the eco-dry is selected. Focus on that. The eco-dry option will default to on for cottons. For optimum energy savings, turn eco-dry on. Alright, so if you want to save energy. For optimal drying times, turn eco-dry off. So this is where one of the things you gotta battle with what it is that you want. You want energy saving or you want optimum drying, right? So you want to, it depends on if you're familiar with the functions and the features and how they work, you can do that. And if it works for you, then use it. If it doesn't, then turn it off. All right, it says energy savings will vary across loads and cycles. Okay? So that's a part of it as well. Of course, you have your my settings, right? It says that the so let's get into that my settings for a little bit and talk about that. It says as the cycle selected knob is turned, the time dry level or dryness level and temp or temperature settings can change to automatic preset default setting. If you desire a different setting, press the appropriate pad. Then press and hold my setting pad for 3 seconds, and the dryer will remember these settings for that knob selection. So you just gotta hold the my setting for 3 seconds. I would say 3 to 5 seconds, and it will remember your settings that you set. And you can always use that setting and just go directly to that. You know what I mean? So, and it says in the future, when you turn the selector knob to that cycle, your settings will be automatically recalled. So you can customize your dryer settings how you want it, so that it's best for you. And like I said, it's good to use some of these functions and features to see how they work, rather than having them and just not using them. And then you call somebody saying, "Hey, my dryer breaks," and it could just be a using error, or just lack of knowledge or understanding how the product works. And like I said, most people use the dryer, their previous dryer or their new dryer, according to the previous dryer that they had. Especially if their older dryer had limited amount of options and features, and the new one has an abundance. It's time consuming to try to relearn and re-educate yourself on some of these things. But I think it is best for you to do that so you understand how it works, so that you can maximize your clothes and make sure that they're coming out nice and hot and dry. Alright, so it says control lock. We talked about that I think a little bit, but we can get into it a little bit more. It says you can lock the controls to prevent any selections from being made, or you can lock the controls after you have started a cycle. Children cannot accidentally start the dryer by touching pads with this option selected. Alright, so to unlock or lock the dryer controls, press and hold the light pad for 3 seconds. So you're probably going to see a star under the light button, and you just hold that button for 3 seconds. The control lock icon will flash while locking and unlocking. Stay on when locked and turn off when unlocked. So you just want to be careful with that. There's times when I went out to a customer house on different appliances where it was just actually locked. They try to press the button, it's not working. Come out there, hold the button for 3 to 5 seconds. Bam, it's unlocked, units start working, and yes, you do charge people for that as well. Because if it's not under warranty and they call you to come out to service an appliance and that's all it is, then sometimes that's all it is. some jobs are easier than others. All right. The power pad can still be used when the machine is locked. Okay. All right. So we got Wi-Fi and damp alert Wi-Fi pad. Press and hold the damp alert Wi-Fi pad for 3 seconds to activate. So that's how you activate the Wi-Fi pad. All right. So that's good there. And you also have drying rack on some models. Of course, it says the drying rack must be used with the time dry cycle. So keep that in mind. Used with sensing cycles may result in damp items or extended cycle times because, again, when the dryer rotates, your clothes are supposed to hit on the sensor that's in front of the dryer. So if you got it on a rack, it's not hitting on anything. So it doesn't really know when to shut off. So that's why it's best to use a time dryer. You just set it manually and it just operates. And if it takes 40 minutes to do it, just finish in 40 minutes. Alright? It says do not use this drying rack when there are other clothes in the dryer. So just keep that in mind as well. Alright, and it says if your model did not come with a drying rack, you can order one online, GE. We got the model number or part number right there as well. So we're going to show you that if you want. If you want to use the part number, we can give you that information. Alright, and they got cleaning and all that, exterior lint, drum light. It says the drum light is an LED light. Replacement must be done by a qualified technician. Alright, so it's not a regular standard light bulb, so you want to be careful with that. If you're qualified to do it, fine. If you want to save yourself some money, I'm not opposing that. But at the same time, you want to unplug the appliance before you install any light bulbs, because your light bulb is connected to that control. So if you try to get that light bulb out and you damage the light bulb, it can short out your control. Then you're gonna have multiple issues there. All right, so that's just a little tip from me to you. All right, but outside of that, man, that is it. That is the functions and the features of this GE dryer. Another step has been done. Another job has been accomplished. Another mountain has been conquered. Of course, it's me, your boy Richie Rich, and you know what we say at Consumer Appliance Report. You help me, I help you, we help each other. Till next time, it's me, your boy. I'm out. Peace.